All right. Welcome back. Oh, a little bit of distortion there. All right. I got a new position for the mic. So hopefully, maybe if I can just knock it back a little bit, it's probably better. Hopefully, I will sound better on the stream now. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Interfaces being interfaces and all that stuff. But hopefully you can hear me better. You just let me know, chat. Welcome back to the stream, by the way. It's still just a little hot. That pot is just a little sensitive. Anyways, welcome back to the stream. I am Agent Ultra, and we do recreational programming here. Oftentimes, I'm doing a project in Haskell or some kind of functional programming. And for the past little while, I've been working on a project to build a MUD server in Haskell. What is a MUD server? Glad you asked. It's a multi-user dungeon is what it stands for. It's basically a precursor to massively multiplayer online games. It's text-based, but it's still real-time with multiple people connected at the same time playing the game together. So, I'm just gonna, hopefully this level is good. This level, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of distortion there. So anyways, yeah. Multiplayer, real-time games. We're building it in Haskell to learn about embedding Lua in Haskell applications, to try out Haskell's networking support more, and learn its more tricks with its software transactional memory library and that kind of stuff to build this thing. And of course, MUDs, learning about them, how to make them, all that sort of stuff. I played them for years. I've never built one. Well, I've worked on MUD code, but I haven't built a MUD from scratch before. So here we go. Last week we started working a little bit on persistence and re-implementing the registration and login commands so that they can take advantage of that. And so now users, when they register, can get an account created for them, and that's persisted in the database now. We have everything, the passwords are hashed in the database, as they should be. It's not encrypted in transport, at least if you're using raw telnet. You might be able to deploy this server on an encrypted transport if you wanted to. It's just plain text. It's probably the way to go these days. So let's see where we were at though. I think that's all done. And there are some little to-dos and things like that to clean up and work on. Let's get rid of that that commented out code. And this commented out code. Right, so I had a database or a text file with some user contributed account names to create and register. So let's just show you what it looks like at the moment where we're at. So you run the server. Let's register Shakabaka. We need to start up our little MUD client. There we go. So, are you locked up or something here? Don't know why that is. There we go. Okay, so we have the server running. We can connect to it. Boom, welcome, welcome. Let's Let's just take a quick peek at our user database at the moment. Sure, SQL projects, Bakamud. Yeah. Okay, so we're using SQLite for the table for the database. And let's just show what we've got in accounts. From accounts. Okay, so we got one user, Bakamager. We're going to now register Shakabaka. Okay, registration accepted. We should see that reflected in the database. There it is, user ID 2. And then we can log in as Shakabaka. And then we get our welcome back screen here. So this, if you don't know, is like written in Haskell code, or Lua code actually. So we have like full Lua interop back and forth between the two, and now we're on our way. We're on our way to being able to flesh out more of the API available to the game developer and add stuff to the server as we need to like persist things and run things. And yeah, I don't know how far we're going to take this project. It is just a learning project for the most part, but we'll see. So there we go, registration. I think the other thing that I wanted to look at was we look at the code, the Lua code for this server so far. Okay, we get the handle command part. So on login, this function here at the top happens when a login is received. All right, we get a connection ID. And the connection ID so far is how we've been talking to clients. Also, we get a connection ID when doing the handle command thing. Tokens is the argument of the tokenized input string of the command that was given in. So you're supposed to like parse that and do what you need to do with it. So we have this idea of like a hello command, parse a hello, and then you can say hello name. If the first token is choose, then we get the second token, we put connection on connection ID, you picked that. Now, the reason why I'm thinking we might need a bit of an update here is when we start thinking about avatars. So when they choose something from the menu here, they're getting a number, and we want to be able to pick the avatar that's associated with that account. Because you're playing a multiplayer game, right? You could have multiple characters on a server, right? You could play more than one. And which one you want to play, you know, has to be, you know, tied to this connection that you're connected to. So we know that you are the user using that terminal, connecting that client, connecting to our server is who they say they are. That's authentication, right? And then we need to like associate things with that user. Not necessarily with the connection, because the connection might go away and then come back as a different connection. We get a different connection ID, but it's the same person. All right, so we need to put the person up in this business here. So, how do... Let's go to the handle command code. I think we call it, for some reason, handle token list. Right, we get a connection ID from it as a parameter, and that's given here from the dispatch command, which gets a connection ID and a command. And dispatch command is probably called in server, I believe. Oh, it's our server. Not that server, the lower level server. Network server. There we are, here. Okay, so the server pulls off a bunch of commands from a queue, an input queue, and then dispatches those commands in a batch. Basically flushing the queue, getting a list of commands. And then loops. Okay, so off that command queue, it's getting a list of connection IDs and commands. So I think the way to do this might be to, once authentication should add the authenticated user ID to the connection. So we can use that. We can pass that around instead of the, or at least we could look up on the connection if we pass the connection through. Or even just the connection ID through on the server. That comes here. In fact, we started doing that here. Good. Okay, so then login. Let's get the challenge results. If it was a success, login was good. Authentication was good. Okay, we do put the user ID on there. Good. Okay. So then we just need to change the Lua API so that it passes in the user ID, I guess. Or this connection ID just fine. How do I list avatars here? I think that might be fixed. If it's not, let's implement it. I think that's in mud code. List avatars. Get the raw connection ID. And if we do, then we look up the avatars, DB handle, and raw ID. Okay, so it's doing it by connection ID, which is wrong. So we need to fix that. It's got to be by user ID. Okay, so I'm just going to break that. I'm going to start running my GHCID builder here. Okay, so user ID is not in scope. We got to bring that in scope. tvar DB handle, raw connection ID. Let's get the DB handle. Yeah, no, we got to get the user ID in scope. we should totally make a proper type for that. User ID. Raw connection ID, Lua integer. Yeah, because that's come from the Lua side, right? Okay, that creates the connection ID. Okay, so this should return, instead of just okay, it should return a value with it. All right, the connection. And get rid of all this. And just do the smap lookup. Okay. Then this can change into a case match on connection. We could even call it like maybe connection. We could just push that there, and then we have just connection, which is good. That gets rid of this. That gets rid of the then keyword. We can look up avatars. And instead of raw ID, we're going to be passing in the user ID. Of the connection. I could probably get rid of those parentheses just fine. Okay, that returns a maybe in 64. So if we get to this point where that user ID is nothing, it's not set yet, that means the user isn't authenticated and they shouldn't actually be able to get to this point. This code shouldn't even be able to be called. Potentially. Or yeah. Because I believe, or at least it should be if it isn't, the handle token list, handling the tokenized result and handing off the game programmer's code, is only done for authenticated users. I mean, we might change that, but for now, that should be it. So I think what we could do here is we could guard this. No, because we need to pull out the value. So yeah, we're just going to do another case match. Just do that, simplest. Let's not get too fancy here. This should exception. Proper exception, not janky exception though. Put a little to-do on it. Proper exception handling. Better application level exception handling, basically. That's what we need there. Okay, so just user ID, boom. And look up avatars, DB handle, user ID. Cool, we change that to user ID. And That's never used. So we don't need to unbind it. And there we go. Back to compiling again. And this is what I love about programming in Haskell. You just break code and get it to compiling again, and you're good. A little bit at a time, a little bit of progress, a little bit of steps, you know, tiny little steps here and there. And eventually come back around. Okay. It's not guaranteed that it's going to work, necessarily, but it's a good indication that you're on the right track, at least. Okay. Start the server. No. What are we going to do here? This isn't going to work yet because I got to change the database. So let's fix that. And let's just... What did I... From avatars. Yeah, we just have to see. Okay, so we're gonna drop that table entirely. Drop table. How about that? Okay, we dropped the table avatars. Now we are gonna create a table of avatars. ID. Primary key. Auto increment, and we want the user ID. SQLite, it's been a while. Do you have primary key or foreign key references? Constraints. Okay, you do have references. Okay, cool. Alright, so we make that integer and the name of the avatar could be text. And that's all we'll have for now. I forgot to add the crazy thing. Forgot to add the foreign key thing. Foreign key user ID. Maybe it should be account ID. References, accounts, ID. There we go. Okay, sweet. Check the schema. There we go. Okay, so let's create some initial avatars. Insert into avatars. And we will insert the user ID and the name, some values. Okay, we're Bakamud, your classic foo. Bar and Baz. And then for Shakabaka, let's add drip and drop. Ah, sorry, account ID, because I'm getting confused. There we go. Okay. There's our characters. Good, good. Let's fix this. Should be account ID. More like account underscore ID. And we're going to have to refactor our code to fix the names as well so that we're all consistent. It's the way to go. It's not account ID, it's account. There we go. Okay. Run the server. Account ID is not in scope. Let's bring that. Let's do that refactor right now. Let's we have an account type here. Okay, it is into 64. I want to give that a proper type, but I'm going to save that for another step. Okay, so let's go fix this error in mud code. That's in scope. Now that's in scope. And then server. On 70. Yes, connection account ID. There. Then that should be good. So we log in as Bakamud. SQL error. Okay. That could have been. Probably was. The log, maybe? Login handler. Yeah, this error isn't terribly great. Something SQL conversion. Well, fortunately at this moment we don't have too many places to use SQL, so Let's see. Username, that should be right. Yeah. And account ID. Schema avatars. Account ID should be integer. Name text, yeah. Oh, okay. Might be our avatar type, actually. Maybe. Yes, this is another place where the API for identifying and updating user stuff is going to come into play. But for now, right, okay, so I changed the shape of the table. We have an ID, integer, and a text. ID, integer, text. Integer, text, and we're probably just not parsing it properly. That should be fine. Let me... do just a little simple dumb debugging. Gotta go before. Okay, we get to the welcome back part. Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably in list avatars. It's got to be in here somewhere. It might be this query exactly. So... what am I doing silly here? Oh, ID text. Okay. That it might be the order of the fields here. Okay, and the fact that I got connection ID there. Okay, so let's just fix that. And I can do that by the selecting out the fields in the order, because I think we still match. ID account or account ID. Although we want name and then account ID. Yeah, yeah. Okay. It's not right, but it works. And this is also one of the reasons why not using select star is a good idea. Like avoiding select star and actually naming out the columns. Okay, so this is getting to be a bit of a big commit. My diff here is going to be a little bit larger than I like, but that's okay. Let us now avatar. So it does need a connection ID, I think. Maybe. It definitely needs a user ID though, or account ID. So let's change this to account ID. Get rid of that. A comment. We'll change the serialization here too. Yeah, okay. And just make sure that all works still. Okay, good. All right, that goes better. Now, back to the mud code. Oh, why don't we test also maybe with the other user, but I think it's just fine. We log in. Shakabaka123 123. We should get drip and drop. We do. Sweet. Okay. Okay. So you're able, as the game programmer, you get your connection ID. You can list the avatars using that connection ID. We can get the avatars for that connection ID. We don't get to see anything else about the account, though. Kind of a weird notion. Alright, so this choose thing, let's get back to that. If you actually pick a number that was displayed, use the choose. Alright. Supposedly, that's going to be, well, it's not going to be the actual database ID, right, of the avatar that you chose with that command. Right, from the onLogin event, up here, we just put I. So it's like whatever order. You notice also with like drip and drop is 1 and 2, foobar baz is 1, 2, 3. But if we look at the database, of course, and we select stall from avatars, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the IDs. Okay. So when handling that command, how do we know what they actually selected? That's a challenge. That's the challenge. Right. It could be the, well, it is the index into the list avatars. So as long as the list avatars returns the list in the same order every time. All right, we could treat the you picked number as the index into that list. All right, and then log in the user or associate that user for this session with that avatar. All right. So that future commands we handle, we can do stuff with their associated avatar. The one that they decided to play as for now, right? So where, if we just give the connection, if we're talking about connections here, then we need a way to associate that avatar ID with the connection. So let's go add that. Actually, let me just do a little cleanup on the account thing. Let's do the commit here. And yeah, we will say this mainly updates modify Bakamud server mud code. Actually, no, this mostly server, isn't it? Avatar connection server. Associate count and avatars. For login and list avatars. Okay. Next thing, count ID. Let's do a count ID. We'll new type it. Give it a wrapper around it in 64. We'll give it unequality and a show instance. And then we need our to field and from fields for it. Hopefully that's right. GHCID, tell me. Okay, all good. So now I should be able to count ID here. Ooh, gotta change that. Hey, Chexor, welcome back to the stream. What up? How's it going? How's my little... I don't know. Your emoji looks excited, so I'm being excited. I'm great. I'm doing wonderful. How are you out there? How's the hacking? Server. It's all right. Well, I like to hear it. I like to hear it. What sort of stuff are you working on or having fun with, getting up to out there? Ah, yes, connection. We gotta update connection. Is our new account ID type, which is better. Not much. Well, that's okay too. Can't always be busy. You gotta have a little, you know, a little chill time, a little not much going on time. Playing some games and studying some maths. Hell yeah. Topology. Wow. Nice. There, we got rid of the bare in 64 there. Give it a nice little type wrapper. So you want to understand the homotopy equivalence idea? Or is that literally homopoly? Looks like a typo to me, but I don't know topology very well. But I assume you mean homotopy. Like homotopy type theory. Yeah, yeah. The context could be good. Yeah, cool. Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I like a little maths in my life, you know? Every now and again, I get a little curious. There was a while I was working on the... I don't think I got all the way to the end of it, but I got pretty far into it. I don't know if it's still online, but Harvard put out one of those online courses in abstract algebra. Yeah, they use the Naughton book, I believe. And that's totally fun. And gave me a good basis for understanding stuff in like category theory that I was trying to learn but didn't have the background for. So, that's awesome. Right, what was I gonna do? I'm gonna just make sure, I think that it's all gonna work just fine, but I'm just gonna quickly make sure, run a little quick test. Ooh, we got a build warning we should probably fix. And log in. Shaka baka. Get your characters. Good stuff. Okay, cool, cool. So add that here. A lot of modify Bakamud account.hs. Add a account ID new type wrapper. Boom. So what games you playing? Let's see. Okay. Look up avatars. Get there. Account ID. Good. Connection. Adding avatar ID. Yeah. The fire triangle Piper showed that the following three things can't be in a type theory together, simply. Dependent types, effects, while substitution is allowed. Huh. Huh. Substitution, like syntactic substitution? Or like term type substitution? Because that'd be a bit of a blow to programming languages. Term, I think. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we want to associate with connection, this metadata like the account ID once the user's authenticated. Once they're authenticated, we want to be able to set their avatar ID based on what they choose, which character they want to play as, which avatar they want to play as. So the first part of that is having that available, because all the, at least for now, unless we decide to refactor this, or I decide to refactor this, I don't know. Like the API for interacting with stuff associated to a particular user playing the game is through their connection at the moment. So you can talk about their connection ID. So check source says they get around it by extending call by push value, which basically thunks. So it adds like a function onto a stack or on a heap somewhere, something. Or defining a way to go between values and computations. Interesting. Yeah, the whole effect debate has been going on for quite a few years, and it feels like some people have made some good progress in the Haskell space, at least. And maybe also in Scala, I hear. I don't think we see the end of it, though. I should probably try out some effect systems. Get a feel for them. I haven't used them a whole lot. See what the hubbub is about, you know? I can understand the principles of them and stuff like that, but I haven't used them in anger. Okay, so avatar ID. We need avatar IDs, so let's go add those. Same as before. I'll get my builder running. And then, in Checksource says regames, I haven't completed a game in a long while, so I was really happy when I recently completed Final Fantasy 15. Nice. Shortly after that, Alliance Alive for 3DS. Nice. You know, it had been a while for me too, but I recently finished a game myself, and I made it through Pyre. which is a game by the same studio that did some probably... It's probably not their most famous game, but their more famous game would be like Hades, things like that. And dang, what a great game. Loved it. It was awesome. I think it was a real sleeper. I think it's actually a really great game. And I don't know why everyone slept on it. It was super good. You can really, really see the DNA that like brought forth Hades in it. But like to the nth degree. It's almost like they toned it down for Hades. Or maybe they turned it up and just tweaked it a bit. I don't know, but like it's just so cool. It's such a good game. I almost wish there was more of it. I think the only thing I could say about it is like I wish the matches lasted a little longer. Maybe they could if you get to a certain level, but or in multiplayer. Multiplayer would have been, like online multiplayer would be good. It's couch multiplayer, but online multiplayer. If you don't know Pyre, by the way, which I'm just like ranting about now, I think it was an awesome game. All right, by Supergiant, and it's kind of like I don't know, a high fantasy NBA Jam game with like a really maybe like a novel kind of game, like a graphic novel kind of game, or interactive novel kind of game in between. So it's got like a campaign story to it. But what I think is really neat, well, I can't really say, because if you're going to play it, it's kind of a reveal, some of the mechanics in the game that also have like big story. They matter to the story. Like it's really interesting what they did with it. It's kind of sportsy, yeah. So the idea is like there's this kind of jail that people get sent to, like an underworld sort of thing when they do bad stuff on the surface. And they have like a competitive sport like they used to do with like barbarians and stuff in ancient Rome, right? You play this competitive sport, and whoever becomes the best of the best gets set free. Right? And so you play these matches as of this sport where you like throw around a ball and you got to get into the other person's goal. But you have these different characters who have different powers that can do different things, blocking and attacking. Some are faster than others, things like that. Equip them, level them up. But then like in between the matches, there's this whole like relationship between all of the characters as you're going along through this whole ordeal. And so that's where like the visual novel type stuff comes in play, and like you really feel like the relationships matter quite a lot as the game goes along, because like there's also mechanics that play off of them and stuff like that, which is really cool. Is there dating? I don't think so. I didn't find it, but there could be, maybe. There's no fishing, so it's not like a true video game, but it's pretty close. There are characters that are like, I was like, I felt they would have been pretty cool, but yeah, I didn't find any kind of dating game in it. But there are certain like characters you can build up their relationship and kind of like, yeah. Anyways, it's such a cool game. Good story, good setting. I wish there was more of it. Honestly, I think if they did a second game in it or a different game in the same universe, even doesn't have to be the same like mechanical game. Mechanically, it could be like a different like an RPG or something else entirely. But I wish they would do it set in the same universe, because I think it was such an interesting universe, such a cool story. It's yeah, a bit of a shame that it was kind of slept on. Yeah, anyways, okay, avatar IDs. Got those. Account ID, we should switch that to account ID. We have those now. This could get nasty with circular imports. Hopefully it won't. Show. Then we need the to field and from field stuff for that. You picked up a new pair of Castafoster last week. Congratulations, Checkstar. Doing the world a solid. A pair of 5-year-old boys. Aw. They're super shy, never want to leave their room. Right on. Yeah, it can take a while, that's for sure. I think I mentioned in a couple streams ago or somewhere around there, but we recently got another one, so we have 2 cats now. And he came from a rescue. And it took him like a good couple of months to really like leave from underneath the bed where he'd like to hide. And then like a little while after that, it was a couple of weeks before, or maybe a few weeks of being out and around before he even let us like, pet him or come near him or anything like that. It took a while. But it was nice. When he finally let us pet him, we're like, oh my god. And he's still not quite as snuggly. He doesn't like being picked up still. But he's getting there. He's getting close. You can see the progress. Okay, so that doesn't export to field from field because I need to import those things. Well, congratulations, Checksar. That's awesome. I'm glad, happy for you. Happy for those cats. That's great. And field, I'm missing field as well. Why? Oh, it probably comes from internal, does it? Oh my gosh. Okay, now connection can finally import avatar ID. There we go. Right, okay, then server is going to complain. We just follow the errors, fix things, make it work again. Alright, gotta pass nothing. There we go. Okay, compiles again. Alright, so now we can add an avatar ID to a connection, which is great. How are we going to do that? All right. We're going to have to give our game developer a function that can do that. So we're just trying to get to the point where Checksar is asking, by the way, what's the task of the day? We're just trying to get to the point where you can log in, right? You get the list of avatars. You get the list of avatars that you have. And then we have this command that is implemented by the game developer called choose. They decided to call choose. Basically, we want to be able to connect the selected avatar to the connection so that we can, when the simulation's running, when the user issues a command, they can update their avatar and do stuff with it. And then when the simulation updates with that avatar in a particular room, we can send data back out to the client. Right? So we're just trying to set up that connection, get that working. Basically character login. All right, so there we are. So what would I call it then? Choose avatar, pick avatar, select avatar. Give it the connection ID and what we chose, which is N. Something like that. Okay. And I guess when we implement that, it's just going to say, like, select that avatar, this avatar for that connection. N is going to be an index into the list of available avatars for that account associated with that connection. And that's what I got. Yeah. So it's, I don't know if it's going to be a little bit janky. It might be a little janky. What I would like is for the game programmer to like be able to choose the actual ID of the object that they want to associate. Like the actual avatar. The ID of the actual avatar that they want to associate to the connection. I don't know. Maybe they could. Because we could list avatars. We can get into avatars again. We could iterate through them. Through the pairs. Yeah, maybe this is better. Avatars. And then it's probably a better way to write this in Lua, but that's the one we want to pick. Of course, if we could put any number. We could put foobar baz in there in the tokens. We haven't even validated the input, right, in the parser. But I'm just happy pathing this. And then we could use the avatar's ID here, maybe. Oh, list avatars only returns the name. I wonder how we're going to have to return. We're going to have to be able to return a table with the record. Hopefully, Lua marshalling already has that. So I want to be able to say set avatar on this connection to the avatar ID. Something like that. We don't have this function yet. And I think avatar from list avatars only returns the actual names, not the records. So we got a couple of things to look into here. Let's go to Yon Mud Code. So we look up the avatars. Yeah, we just push text. Right. That's first thing. So we're going to have to push... hopefully this Lua marshalling module has like a record thing. That would be super handy. Okay, just Lua marshalling. Push, pull, integral, and float, strings, collections. Ooh, we could push a map. Okay, key value pairs. We could do the pairs as well. And push object as push as table. Pushes an object as a table. Defined by a list of field names, push function pairs. Interesting. Okay, not quite, but map is looking nice, or key value pairs. Okay, where's my pushers? My key value pairs. I got a pusher. Oh, a pusher for each key and value. Yeah, see the A. A would be the B. Okay. Got it. Marshal the forces of data. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But that's what we want to do here, so let's do it. Push key value pairs. Yeah, push A, push B. Okay, so now that's my pusher. I'm not sure how this is going to work. Let's get GHCID going. Oh, wrong terminal. It's already going. Okay, good. So not just going to map avatar name now. We're going to map... what are we going to map? Is it list? Push list. I got a pusher of some A for its input. I guess I got a list, yeah. Marshal, mid-15th century. To tend horses, also to arrange, place in order, arrange soldiers for fighting. Okay, does make sense, right? That's kind of what I was going for all along. Yeah, high officer of the royal guard charged with regulating ceremonies. Yeah, the marshal of the court there. Yeah, totally. Making sure all the soldiers are up to muster. There's another one, an interesting muster. The etymology of muster. Mustering forces, but also muster as in like good enough, up to spec. Meets muster, passes muster, that kind of thing. Okay, so I guess list of key value pairs. Map some function to avatars. Okay. And GHC says key value pairs is applied to many. Okay, this is why I was like, I'm not sure this is gonna work. Oh, because I gotta put a pusher for each argument of that. Okay, yes. Okay, that is gonna work. This is gonna work. This is gonna work just beautifully. I understand now. right? And okay. So now we need a Lua. So we'll use text for the things, push text. And the other pusher, though, is... they all going to be the same. That's going to be rough. Right, this B. I gotta be able to push a table that has, like, a record. Dang it. Record fields can have different types. This is probably what we want, push this table. Right, but we basically, because like you push text, right? That's your key. And then like Lua push numbers, say. Or push integer, or whatever it is. Whatever the pusher is called. Well then your pairs, it's a homogeneous list of pairs. Alright, so like just text and numbers as a table, which is fine. But not quite what we want. I want to be able to have the ID in there, the avatar's ID, which is going to be like a number. But like the avatar's name, which is going to be like a string, and that sort of thing. So, push as table is a Lua E function, which is fine, right? Yeah. Okay, and it takes a name and this function. A to Lua E. A to Lua E. A to Lua E. So a pusher, in other words, for the field type. Okay, yeah, this is probably more what we're supposed to be using. Okay, and then we have to give the specification to push as table, this list of name to pushers. So like field names to pushers. Then I don't have to map anything at avatars, because avatar is going to be the A. This one's really confusing too. More confusing than the last one. Because the A here and the A here. If I give you an A, say that A is avatar. Well, like you get avatar to Lua E something, right? Not exactly a string or an integral or a bool or a float. And what's a name besides? Okay, basically a byte string. Okay, so it has an isString instance, so we should be able to a name and Lua string push text and oh, right, we wanted the ID. And we'll make that Lua push integral. Okay. Our server mudcode is complaining that we could not deduce from row text this query. Because it doesn't know that avatars is in it. It should be avatars. Oh, I guess it doesn't know what the return type is, maybe? Okay. Okay, how can I give you a type application? Let's do that. Language, type applications, then. I think internal text. Why is it looking for text? I want to know what GHCID thinks avatars is. That's not going to tell me the type. Just as defined but not used. Okie dokie then. All right, marshalling objects. Interesting. Maybe there is still something there. Cool, cool. There's some type checking functions, helpers there. That's pretty nice. P, come on in, no. Some peeking stuff. Peeking read, looking. Just peeking, okay. Pushing the values, yeah. All right. So how are we going to push tables? A list of tables with non-homogeneous key value stuff. Just put a hole here. Right, so this hole wants to be a pusher with avatar as the return value, as the input value. Which doesn't fit push as table, it looks like. Okay, so far actually might be. So we want to lift the hole to be this type. Okay. Let's give it a value there. And a hole. Okay, so it wants this hole to be an avatar to whatever Lua thing. Okay, let's make that a function. Avatar to Lua E. I have to put the constraint on it. Lua error. And we're gonna make this pusher Lua dot text or just text. See if that'll fit in the hole anyway. That is data.text. Okay, so let's do that. Import data.text type. Okay, it can't be text because it needs to be unit. So assuming we can write this, so let's get our avatar. We can use record wildcards here. Now we have that hole has to be a Lua E one that returns unit. And if we do push, okay, push string, yeah, that would fit. Okay, let's try that. Lua push capturing of our avatar name. It wants to be text. Can I do the text? Apparently I could do the text. Connection. Let's get rid of that error, because that's annoying. Okay. Maybe this is the way. Maybe we figured it out. Okay, what if I add another one? ID. Push avatar ID. We'll pop this there, just like this. Be the same signature. And then for this one, we want to push integral. All right, we got it's a new typed. La 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 la. We'll unwrap it. And then we'll push it. Okay. All right, let's try this out now. We got lookup avatars now, returning a list of tables with our fields in it. So now this code would have to read avatar.name. Hopefully that works. I don't think any of the rest of the Lua code is going to work, and hopefully it won't crash because we're not going to execute it. Cool, cool, so good, so far so good. Can't connect, why not? Okay, that was weird. Alright, got the connection. We log in. Shaka baka. Go there. Got the drip drop. Okay, cool, that worked. Let's disconnect. Update our code here. To go %D. Okay. Log in. Okay, not updating there. Let's save the changes. Oh, I probably gotta restart the server. I should probably add a way to like auto reload the mud code, at least while in development mode or something. There we go. Yeah, and those are the data. Sweet. That's great. Okay, so we marshaled objects. It's not super general yet. We still have to like manually write out every field we want to marshal into the thing using the push object stuff. Might be able to write like a type class or something that could like just automate that for us. We could just do it next to the type, you know? They probably could have something like that in the library, but that's all right. We can write it ourselves. That's fine. Okay, cool. So that's great. Or good. I'm not sure if it's great. I think one of the things that's like pushing around my head right now, chat, is should we be exposing the database IDs? to the game developer like this? Is that fine? Will they shoot themselves in the foot? Is it okay if they do? I haven't really settled on the philosophy of this yet, you know? If you're scripting an application using this, would you be fine with your code potentially, having the kinds of bugs in it that maybe could be prevented with a better design of the API? Or do you like the flexibility? Because if we narrow down the interface more, that means like less flexibility, right? And make the IDs opaque. It also makes the code a little bit harder for us on the Haskell side to write, because we have to like do extra lookups and stuff and things like that. So I don't know. But I'm going to commit this code. Internal ID checks there, you think? Yeah. I want them to be able to refer to it, just not with the... Yeah, an external ID, separate kind of thing, yeah. Because, like, we're trying to implement that part of the mud code where you want to set this avatar to the connection, but which one is this is what we're trying to solve, right? So yeah, some kind of external ID, some kind of wrapper might be the way to go. Okay, add avatar object fields to tables returned in list avatars API function. Oh, we're running a little low on time there. Let's see. Okay. So main Lua. Okay, so that... Right, because now we're implementing the choose function, right? And like the choose is like an index in that list avatars lists. Now we can actually implement set avatar here with avatar.id because the ID field is there, right? Or if we got rid of the ID and made it internal somehow, maybe it's just like set the avatar to this avatar and we just give you the object, and the object has a way for us to like associate that to the thing. You know what I'm saying? That might be a project for next week. Let's see if we can get at least the basics of set avatar implemented. And then we'll probably call it there for the week. Okay, set functions, so burp. Similar to that. So we call it set avatar. There, we have to put it here. That. Okay, so first thing is do, and let's get our arguments. Like that with that's the connection ID, and we need the raw avatar ID. Maybe second. Yeah, it's not. It's gonna be an integer. Yeah. Raw. Okay, and we return no arguments. So then we have to pure clear 0. Get your HCID running, of course. Okay. Okay, let's just put out the arguments. Connection ID. Raw connection ID. The avatar ID. We have to IO that, don't we? Yeah. There we go. Okay. So now our Lua code should be able to run completely. Login. Shakamaka 123 123. Okay, let's say user types in 1. Oh no, just one. I mean, choose 1. Okay, and then we get back. You picked 1. Okay. I don't see my print. Should we see? We should see. Set avatar. That gets called here. Yeah, we picked 1. That should get called here. Let's see. Come on. Choose 1. Okay, you picked 1. Yeah, we're not getting any output logging, but set avatar is apparently, potentially, getting called. Possibly, maybe. Debug tracer, just to be sure. Okay, reconnected. Log in. Okay, then we choose. Is it? Am I not typing in the right thing here? Tokens 1, choose, then a number. Maybe I'm just not hitting that spot. Let's just get rid of that. No matter what they do. No matter what they choose. It's not implemented yet. We can just put any old number there. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so my Lua code sucked. There we go. Okay, command implemented. Although, not implemented, just like the skeleton of the command is set up. Okay, we're going to have to figure this out, though, next week, because that's all the time I got for today. Let's get rid of the debug stuff. Let's create one last commit. And go. Modify. Bakamud server mud code. Added. Set avatar. API command. Skeleton. No, that's good enough. All right, quite a few commits. A few good commits there. Let's push up. All the code you've seen tonight is part of Bakamud, a multi-user dungeon mud server that we're trying to figure out how to build in Haskell. It's available here on github.com. I'm Agent Ultra. I'm Agent Ultra on GitHub. I'm Agent Ultra here. I'm an Agent Ultra in a lot of places, including the Fediverse if you want to follow me there. On the types.pl server, I'm Agent Ultra there as well. You can follow me there for updates on the stream, general programming nonsense, and learnings and fun stuff. And you can also go to the link above my head. It's declarative.tv. There are other streamers who are doing things in languages like Haskell and Elixir that are looking for audiences that could use you. You know? There's also a link to a Discord server on that site where we have a channel for this stream. So if you want to hang out with other like-minded folks, I recommend checking out that server and come and hang out with us. And yeah, give me a follow here on Twitch if you like what you saw and you want to get notified when I do streams. I usually do these streams once a week on Tuesday evenings at about 10 after 8 Eastern time zone. And if you can set up your notifications and get received on, then you'll get notified when I go online. But I also do sometimes stream other projects randomly throughout the week. So you'll get notified of those as well. And if you're watching on my YouTube where I back up the VODs for this stream, like and subscribe and leave a comment and all that sort of stuff. You know what to do there. Thanks again for watching. May all your monads be free and your types check. And we'll see you next week. Happy hacking out there. All the best.